Hey, welcome to the 24K Life podcast. I am your host, Derick Gant. We are all about cracking the code. What code? Your code. What is the code to your personal success? Some might say you need more donuts and diaries. I'm just saying, you never know what your code is, but we're here to help you crack it. And as you know, every week we bring you someone or something or some concept or some tool that can help elevate your life to the 24K ultimate pure gold vibe that you truly are as you look to continue to figure out how to develop, how to crack your code, and how to unlock all of your internal mysteries, because that is the key to all of your dollars. With that, we have the author of the Doughnut Diaries, hence my little spin there earlier, Rachael Lavin. Rachael, welcome to the 24K Life podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we are glad that you're excited. We hope you stay excited. We don't want to lose you in the midst and turn you into that. Now, you were just telling me that you were snapping your fingers and all happy and joyous, saying, I got my workout in, so I'm good. That's the truth. That's what you just told me, right?
It's the truth. Absolutely.
So how critical, essential is working out to your normal routine?
Super critical, especially with everything I'm trying to create. It's such a beautiful stress management, and it's really like my therapy.
Yeah, it is for me too. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, let me introduce you the proper way so that everybody knows who they're talking to. She has the most amazing Hamza necklace on for those of you that are just listening. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
But Rachael is a professional speaker, body love educator. Now, we can't wait to get into the body love education. Certified personal trainer, a certified health coach. And she is living in Greenville, South Carolina right now. Now, my first question for you, like right out of the gate, and I skipped it on purpose, is that you've lived like in every massive major place that there is to live.
Yeah.
And you're in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So let me just tell the people where you've lived. Okay. She's lived in Hawaii, Vancouver, New York. She grew up in Northern California. She's lived in Portland, Oregon. And like I said, she's now in Greenville, South Carolina with her partner. How did you get there? Why did you leave Hawaii? Why?
Goodness. Wow. You want me to go way back? Well, okay. I decided with my best friend at the time that we wanted to live in Hawaii for the summer right after graduation. So we planned our whole senior year. We saved money. We asked for like whatever for our birthdays and Christmas, like just get us to Hawaii. And of course, at the time we're ready to go. She's like, well, I have a boyfriend now, so I'm not going. So I was like, screw that. I'm going anyways. I went there by myself with the intention of just staying there for the summer. But that turned into a year and a half-ish. And I had the best time. I was 18 years old. I was working 3 jobs, and it was a fun experience. But I also realized like I'm not a beach bum kind of girl, and I need a little bit more structure in my life. So I came back to the mainland. So that's the Hawaii story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was your favorite place to live out of all the things that I've named?
Oh, God. Well, they've all had a special place in my heart. I mean,
okay.
My best girlfriends still live in Portland, and I go back often, and I will always have a special place in my heart for Portland. But I love New York. I feel like it turned me into an adult. It made me realize I had to take care of myself, and it was an amazing experience. But I'm digging South Carolina too.
Nice. So what do you love about South Carolina the most?
Where we live is phenomenal. And I have the cutest downtown 2 miles away from me. I lived in an old mill, so I have a beautiful loft apartment. And I think anyone who's ever lived in New York understands the size of your apartment. It's beautiful, right? So when you move somewhere and you're gaining like 800 square feet is a miracle. So I think the space is amazing.
Okay. How long have you been there?
We've been here a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick there or you don't know yet?
Don't know.
Don't know. Okay. Well, let's get down to the serious things. What are the Doughnut Diaries?
The Doughnut Diaries is my beautiful book that I put out into the world in 2021. And do you want me to keep going?
Absolutely. Well, we already knew it was a book. We told everybody you were the author of the Doughnut Diaries. But what is it? Tell us what it's about.
Okay. It is my journey, my story, my experience of the first half of my life of really having no relationship with myself. I didn't love myself. I hated my body. I hated everything that surrounded food and my size of my body. And I just was a miserable person. And when I turned 40, I was like, I'm done with this. I want to be happy. Life is too short. And I proceeded then after that beautiful epiphany to do some work. I dealt with my trauma. I dealt with my anger. I dealt with my relationship with food. And now being able to be on the other side of that, I've always known that my destiny and my mission in life is to help people. Mm-hmm. And also you have to be authentic with that. And so what better way than to share my story of then and now to be able to help other women.
Excellent. I like it. So tell me about how you dealt with, you've mentioned a lot of dealings. How did you deal with your body? Let's start with the body. Okay. Or does it all kind of go in the same boat, the body, the food, or is it different?
I would say it's definitely all encompassing, but the stages were definitely separate for me. Yes.
So which stage did you deal with first?
My outlook on life. I realized that I was creating a lot of this drama. It was learned behavior. It was behavior that I have solidified throughout my life, and it was no longer serving me. Mm-hmm. And I got a great therapist. I got some great books. I got some alone time. Like I had not learned how to be by myself ever. Wow. And living in New York City at the time was such a safe place to do that. Like to go out to dinner by yourself or take a walk in a new neighborhood or go to the movies by yourself. So I really had to get comfortable with doing those things. And I got to know myself, and it was like, oh, I am pretty cool.
I knew I was cool inside. I knew it.
Right. Exactly. That's almost exactly the epiphany that I had. It was like all the things that I thought I never was, I really was. I just hadn't tapped into that yet.
Mm-hmm. Were you influenced? It's a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it. How were you, let me ask it a different way. How were you influenced by outside sources, be it people or magazines or images of people that, Hollywood images of people are weigh 97 pounds and that's supposed to be beauty. How did you handle those outside sources of input?
It was tough because I say this all the time in interviews and in my book. Like I felt betrayed by my body. Like, why can't I look like that? And it was almost just like giving up of doing any kind of research. And I think me really not knowing who I was played a huge part in that. But when I decided to kind of give up on what society and other people and myself told me I was supposed to look like, embracing who Rachael really was and my body type and the fact that I wasn't born with the gift of natural thinness, and that's okay. So being angry at my body because it was doing something that it just can't do made no sense. So instead of feeling like that, embracing the body that I do have and treating it the best that I can through nutrition and exercise is really been a game changer.
Excellent. Yeah. So you would advise people that are struggling with, their self perspective, their own view of themselves, to do the things that you're talking about, get some help, talk to somebody, take a look at how you're thinking about yourself and start to retool, figure out what that aha moment is. That's what it sounds like you're saying to me.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And it's unfortunate because we have so much noise. You know, we've got the drugs, we've got the pills, we've got the workouts, we've got the meal plans, we've got the plastic surgery. So there's a lot of noise that stops us from being our authentic self.
Right. Well, hopefully people will figure out that the noise is not good noise, and it's inhibiting them from even taking a time out, like you said, to learn how to be with yourself. I've always been a loner, so I've never had a problem, going to the movies by myself or dinners by myself or just being by myself. People thought I was crazy. Like I'm a ball of fun. Knowing I was square is all square, but to me, I was a ball of fun because I could enjoy wherever I was doing, wherever I was at by myself. So what made you want to write the book, though?
I wanted to write the book because my whole first half of my life felt so alone. And as I started to, go through this beautiful process of learning about Rachael and healing, I realized that probably so many people out there feel this way. And what better way to get a message across than to write a book? And when you put something like that out in the universe and it literally, the doors just keep going open, 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 I didn't have a reason not to do it.
Excellent. That's awesome, because so many people have a book that they say they want to write a book, but they never do it. They just talk about it or they think about it, but they don't do it. So did you find the process therapeutic at all, or was it just hard work? How was your process of writing your book?
Therapeutic, sure. Hard, yes. But it was more, this might sound cheesy, but it was like just this constant feeling of joy that I was doing something that was important.
Right. Well, that's good, because I did not feel that when I wrote my book.
Well, our topics are a little different.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. I understand that. So how did you get into, now you are an ACE certified trainer and you teach these classes. How did you decide that was the path that you wanted to take?
I'd always been very active, always, my whole life. I've done sports, I've done dance, whatever. So when I started doing jazzercise with my mom, it was like, you need to be an instructor. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But one day it just kind of happened. Again, it just kind of happened, and I didn't have any roadblocks. And then that happened. And then I started working for the company Bowflex. I'm totally aging myself right now. I'm sure your listeners might remember that machine.
Oh, and yeah.
It just sparked my interest in wanting to go further into the fitness industry. And it just so happened that at Portland Community College, there was a program, and I enrolled in that. Next thing I knew, I was working at a gym, taking my A certification, and that's when I moved to New York.
Wow. And so you moved to New York to do more of that with the Bowflex company?
No. I left that company many moons ago.
Okay.
It was to have a career as a personal trainer.
And how did you find that in New York? Was it exciting? Was it, you hear New York and you're thinking, oh my God, you're going to meet some really great people, and they're in the health and fitness, kind of like California, I guess.
Yeah. Well, all those things are true, but as I've kind of lived this life and lived my career, I've realized that even if I want something, it may not be my purpose. Mm-hmm. And so I've met many celebrity trainers, and I thought for 2 seconds that's what I wanted, but I know that now that wasn't my path. But I did have a very successful personal training career in my time in New York City.
Okay.
It just was different than I had thought.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about your path now.
My path now is that I have this tool, which is my book, and I really want to focus on helping women get through this. I can't do it for you. You've got to do the work, but I can support you. I can share my story with you. I can guide you the best that I know how, but I really just think that in our industry, fitness, wellness, whatever you want to call it, we are so behind the times. The answer isn't weight loss. You know, that is something that we need to put to the side.
Okay.
Let's talk about health. Let's talk about longevity. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about being happy for the rest of your life. Isn't it more important that we get to move without pain for the rest of our lives than worrying about being a size whatever?
Right.
So that is what I'm doing now, is I'm creating a space for women to feel whole in their body.
And in creating that space, they need to go to rachaellavinwellness.com,
Yes.
right? And learn more, get the copy of the book, start really learning how to love yourself, which leads right into my next question. You know, tell me about the body love. I'm sure it's not what I want to hear. I'm sure it's something different.
Now you've really piqued my interest. Like, what?
Body love educator. I need to talk to her. So tell us about, I digress every blue moon, but I think it's good to be happy, as you said, and to have fun and to make light of things. But tell us about the concept or your course. Is it a course? The Body Love Educator? What is that about?
I do workshops on different, body love for me, and this is what I'll tell your listeners, is that it has to come from within. You can be, and I love to share this quick little story with people that maybe resonates. When I turned 40 years old, I was a size 0. I was the smallest body I'd ever been in my entire life, and I was miserable. I didn't feel like this is who I am. And so having said that, being every size from 0 to a 12 multiple times throughout my life, the key part of what was missing was respecting myself, loving myself, and treating myself with kindness. So that's where body love comes from. I think the hot word of the now is body positivity, and that's fine, but it still does not encompass what I'm trying to put out there, which is, if you don't love yourself from the inside out, it doesn't really matter what the outside looks like, because it's not going to sustain.
Right. Wow, that's deep. And body positive compared to body love, and you really going in more deeply into what that really means internally, and still doing the things that you still do the things that are healthy and those type of things, but you're not body shaming yourself. Is that what I'm assuming that's what you're saying. You stop body shaming you first.
Absolutely. It's totally important to take care of our vessel. We only get one body. So yes, please move your body. Eat the beautiful rainbow of foods out there. You don't have to live on broiled chicken and steamed broccoli for the rest of your life. Like that. No.
Right. Hence the Doughnut Diaries, right? So you can have a donut every once in a while and still love yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I love it. I think it's amazing. So, if you were going to talk to 18-year-old heading to Hawaii, Rachael, what would you tell her?
Don't drink that Slim Fast.
Wait a minute. Don't drink the Slim Fast? Yeah. Were you doing it on a Slim Fast diet before you left so you can have your Hawaii bikini body? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
She said, yeah.
That would be the first thing I would tell my 18-year-old self. And then the second thing I would tell myself, I love this question because it's true. I would tell myself, I love you and you are enough.
But what will make the 18-year-old you believe you now, 40 plus you now? Because, I'm sure somewhere, somehow, 5 what?
I'm 50, not 40.
Oh, you're 50. No, I said 40. I said over 40. I wasn't asking. I was saying that you've mentioned being when you hit 40. So we knew you're at least 40. All right. But she's telling us, she's holding up the 5 to everybody. So she's 50. So there's got to be something. I'm imagining Derick telling Derick, hey, you're enough. And I'm going, yep. Okay, bro. And, keeping it moving. But I mean, to really talk to yourself, do you think that's enough to or does it need to come from somebody that you really admire, love, and depend on? I mean, because it's got to be a little bit more than telling yourself, hey, you're enough.
Yeah, you're right. I think that at that age, we are so impressionable. So having positive influences are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But again, someone, as you know, I'm sure, someone can tell you you're amazing, you're smart, you're all this as much as they want. But if you don't believe it, what happens? It falls on deaf ears. So being able to cultivate that strength at 18, I can't even imagine what I'd be doing now. You know, I might be the president. I'm just saying.
Just saying. So, okay, so let's ask the question a different way. So, versus what would you tell yourself, 18-year-old Rachael, what would you have 18-year-old Rachael start to do practice-wise, habit-wise? What would you have her do? That's probably a better question.
That is a great question.
Right? Because you're enough, but to prove it to yourself, start doing what?
Start doing the talking kindly to yourself. Stop feeling like other women are out to get you. Like whatever you learned from up until this point, you are not this, you are that, and you get to continue to grow. I think at my 18-year-old self, I was almost already set in my ways, if that made sense.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the scientists say that we are who we are by age 7, and then it just keeps getting reinforced until we decide to change it.
Yeah, believe that 100%.
Yeah. So I think I would tell young Derick, because I was always a pretty serious person. I told you I was a loner, so I was always a pretty serious young guy. I would have told me to have more fun. Everything's not going to end the world. That I would say, write your thoughts down and decide who you want to be and how does that make you feel. See, as a guy in my 50s, I've learned the whole feel thing, right? I wasn't big on feelings. It's like, fuck your feelings, right? Like, what's the results? So now I'm into, okay, well, how does it make you feel? How does this person in your circle make you feel? Do you get kind of weird vibes from them? Or do they make you feel better or worse when you leave them? And that's how you start to know who you should probably be around. Those are some of the things that I would have told myself. I was already working out. I was an athlete and all that kind of fun stuff. And luckily I kept doing it. But, I was a group fitness instructor also, like yourself. And what I noticed is that when you're around the larger group of people that you're around that are having fun, that are on the same mission, the better it was. Did you find that with what you were doing? Like when you're teaching your exercises and your jazz exercises, I mean, you had 40 people compared to 2 people. To me, it was always the energy of having 40 people all happy to work out, which nobody's happy to work out, but they were happy because you're instructing, right? And they're doing the thing and they're proud of themselves when it's over, was always more energetic than having 2 people in class.
Absolutely. Yes. I completely understand what you're saying now. I haven't taught a class in like 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do remember those days. And yes. I remember that feeling of just like really kind of getting into it, maybe doing a couple extra like hips just because there were more people there. And it was just like the energy was amazing. Yeah. So that I do remember that.
So do you bring that kind of energy, if you will, to your workshops, the Doughnut Diary workshops? I mean, I'm just trying to get you to tell us what's the what, because I'm imagining that you're setting it off in these workshops.
Well, thank you. I actually just did one yesterday and the feedback was phenomenal. And to see people's faces, like to see their minds like opening up and to see that I'm speaking to other fitness professionals and like, ladies, we've all drank the Kool-Aid. Let's go ahead and open our mind to a different way.
Right. And
I can't tell you or your listeners or people in my world enough that to get the people in the door with the promise of weight loss, we're done with that. We're done with that.
And they should be done with it too. If you're looking at something and the only thing is weight loss, they should be done with it.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard because we've lived this way. I'm sure my whole life, I'm sure your whole life, their whole life. I mean, I had women in my group yesterday that were in their 70s and they were talking about, yeah, it's been around since I've been around. So weight loss has been our society's focus for a long time. And that's going to take some serious effort on many of our parts to dismantle that.
So why do you think that is? Because, you say that weight loss has been in our society's focus and interest, but at the same time, society is like making it so easy to get to all the things that make that not true. Like all the fast foods, all the GMO, the modified foods, all the, at least domestically, I've heard people say they went to Greece and other places and ate more food, but it was healthier and not modified. And they actually lost weight, not on purpose. They weren't trying to lose weight, but they lost some weight and they definitely didn't come back bigger or fatter or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But I agree with you. It's like they show us these images of what fitness and health is supposed to look like, but that's the extent of it. Then it's like going to diet, but then you're like, oh, drink this shake and eat this double, triple, quadruple-pound cheeseburger with extra, potato chips inside of it, and fry this Oreo and fry. I mean, I'm serious.
I know.
I've seen all that craziness, and so is it just the machine, and how do people break out of that noise?
But you gave a perfect example. So on one ear, you've got thin is happy, thin, you're beautiful, thin, thin, thin. And then, eat the new triple decker cheeseburger. Mm-hmm. Can you understand why we as a society are so overwhelmed and only think about our bodies?
Right.
Because it's coming at us from literally every direction and two different messages. If you're thin, you're gorgeous, you're happy, you're beautiful, you're rich, you're all those things. If you eat this, you're fat, you're unhealthy, you're obese, you're going to die.
Right. But we're going to put it on sale for you.
Right?
Buy one, get one free.
Yes. Listen, the sooner we recognize that we're a capitalist country, that's great. And this is a perfect segue to we have to become our own people and think for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Stop believing just because you think it makes sense. And I think that was a part of my downfall so many times, because I believed whatever this diet was telling me. I believed whatever this person, I lost 30 pounds doing that. Okay. But we're all made differently. Our body makeup is different. Our nervous systems are different. Our lives are different. So we can't just do that one and done.
Right.
And I am here to tell you that 98 out of 100 diets fail. You will gain the weight back. You will.
I heard you say that you were 0 to 12 several times. I heard you throw that in.
Yeah.
Wow. So a diet's not it. You got to crack your code to your thing. So how do you feel people should get to what their level is? And I'm not telling you to give away the secrets of your workshop, but just in general, how do you suggest that people that really are struggling with this body image thing start to maneuver to settle into their own?
There's a handful of things. The first thing, you have to stop dieting. You have to stop restricting. You have to learn what foods your body responds best to. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some detective work. And don't be afraid to change. I just changed my workout again because your body is so smart and adapts so quickly that if you don't do that, change your workouts up, then you're just doing maintenance and you're not really going to see any change. So I know that because of all the diets that I've done throughout my life, I have done some damage to my body. And I need some time for it to get back to homeostasis.
Okay.
Yeah. And so even though with the COVID and the move and some weight gain, I am not going to go back to restricting because that's not the answer.
Right.
So even if I were to lose some weight temporarily, when I go back to eating normally again, it'll come back. So why not just let it let my body regulate, let my body understand that I'm here trying to help you, and I'm not trying to fight with you anymore.
I love that. I'm not fighting with you anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just figure this out together, find a happy spot and healthy, happy spot and stay there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you only gave us one tip, because I want to dive into that one tip, because I'm just curious personally. And the listeners are innocent bystanders to my curiosity. So how do you find out what your body best responds to? I know you said it's going to take some work. So do you just strip down to say, okay, I'm just going to eat peas this week, and then I'm going to introduce some sesame seeds next week and raisins the week? I mean, how do you do that?
Raisins.
I'm exaggerating on purpose so that people can kind of stay tuned.
Look, I did the work for you. So here's this. I went to an anti-inflammatory nutritionist 10 years ago, and realized that because I was not cooking my own meals, I was eating out in New York, my sodium was causing a whole bunch of inflammation.
Okay.
And I had to start from scratch. I definitely... Let me rephrase that. So I did a drastic thing, which I don't recommend, but
don't tell us about it. We don't want to know.
Okay.
Let's just leave it at a drastic thing.
What I will say now is that we as human beings do not trust our bodies. We don't understand our body's signals, and we don't honor that. So my first piece of advice would be figure out what kind of eater you are. If your stomach is growling, that is a signal that you are hungry. Please stop ignoring that.
Okay.
Now, for people who don't know when to stop eating, I always like to say that your body also will tell you that you're full by when you're eating, and you have to take that first breath. That is your body saying, okay, I'm good. Thank you. So those two, because I know there's so many different kinds of eaters out there. Me, I was the kind of person that used to literally get pissed off when I got hungry. I would get pissed.
You got hangry?
No, not even that. Like, why do I have to eat again?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to get comfortable with the fact that I'm a 3 to 4 time a day eater, and just let it be. Just let it be the thing I do, not something that's being done to me.
Right. So you're not fighting. It's not a war.
No, not anymore.
Well, that's cool. I was going to ask you about these signals, but you just gave them to me, which was great. So what are there other signals? Like, for instance, you're hungry, your stomach's growling. Now, I always thought that, not always, but I thought I read somewhere, like when your stomach's growling, you may not necessarily be hungry. You might be thirsty, drink some water and keep it moving. But that's not the case. Look at you. If you all could see her face looking at me, like, you idiot.
No, because guess what, Derick? I believe that shiz for so long too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know that is a myth, but I don't mean to be gross, but listen, if you take a moment just to look at your pee real quick, and your pee is a pale yellow, you're hydrated. So if your stomach is growling, your pee is a great color, you're hungry. You're hungry.
Simple as that.
As simple as that. We make this so hard.
So what should we be doing? I mean, you see some cultures, and I'm gonna say it. It's probably stereotyping, and I apologize in advance. But like, you look at like Asians, and they eat rice, and they all. I mean, you don't see a whole bunch of unfit, at least from sight. I don't know how healthy they are, but is it something to the things that we're eating, or is it the amounts that we're eating, or is it the times? I mean, what is that all part of cracking our own code, finding out what works for us? Like you said, you're a 3 to 4 a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And, using the Asian diet is a perfect example, because you're right. Their daily diet consists of rice, which we think is like the devil.
Exactly.
But you also have to understand, like, they grew up eating that. We may not have grown up eating that, but you do see when Asians come here and they start eating our diet, what happens?
Yeah, they have the same suffering the rest of us do. They blow up.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. So instead of thinking one food group is bad for you, you have to learn how does your body process things. So here's a perfect example. I cannot really process anything in the pepper family. It doesn't do well with my body. I get bloated, I get tummy aches. So peppers are just not my friend, but I've learned that through eating them. So I don't eat them if I don't want to be in discomfort. But there are so many other beautiful foods out there that my body loves and responds to, and I could eat all the time. So that's what I implore your listeners to kind of think about. Okay, this food I love so much. How does it make me feel? Or I feel like I have to eat this food and I really friggin' hate it. So why am I doing this to myself? They both have an effect on your body. And that's why when I was also going to include when I'm working with someone, I ask them to make me a list of foods that they hate.
Okay.
Because for me, that's easier to look at and be like, okay.
Yeah, my list is going to say coconut and liver. That's it. That's the end of my list.
See, that's easy. Instead of like, okay, well, what kind of foods will you eat? Or how,
right.
They don't even know. It's like, what foods is it a hard no for you? And it's usually a pretty short list.
Short list.
Yeah.
Short list. Well, I've learned a lot. I really have. And I'm excited to see what kind of questions we get from the listeners in the community. I'm sure that we'll get some people to go out there and get the Doughnut Diaries, maybe even check out your workshop. Do you have your next one planned yet?
I have one in person locally.
Okay, you have one in person locally. So we all get to come to Hawaii and then to Greensville. So we get to go to Hawaii and then get to go to Greensville via Hawaii. Is that what you're telling us to do?
Sure.
Sure. She said, sure. Well, go to the website. Anytime you find someone, just like the peppers did not resonate with Rachael, anytime you find someone that resonates with you, you need to tap in. You need to listen. You need to understand that you don't resonate with everybody. So those few people that you really gravitate to, that you think you can learn with, experience the similar circumstances, or you have this connection with, this soul connection with, Greensville's not that far away. Don't let space restrict you, because nowadays we can get where we need to be relatively painless with some planning. And if it's important to you, you'll spend, or as I like to say, you will invest in yourself. And that includes maybe going to a wellness workshop in Greensville, South Carolina. It's sunny there. There's beaches. How close to the beach are you?
Not very far.
Oh, God.
I live in the upstate of the state. That's
okay.
what we call it, the upstate. In Charleston, that's the water.
That's the water?
Yeah, and that's like 3 hours. It's only 3 hours, I guess.
Oh, well,
you can be there. You can get there and have a day trip for sure.
I was going to say, it's relative. I'm 13 hours away from the closest beach in Ohio, right? Yeah. See? You should see her face, you all. All right, Rachael, thank you so much. Hang on, and we'll be right back. So, I keep trying to share with you, there are so many millions of people that have experienced things that you do not have to suffer alone. You don't have to go through alone. You don't have to learn alone. You don't have to do alone. And as I mentioned, I didn't mention it for Rachael's benefit. I mentioned it for your benefit. If you find someone that has been through something that you're going through, but you yet are searching for the answers, why spend the same amount of times? Why spend the same number of years trying to find a solution when the solutions are an internet click away? I encourage you to go check Rachael out. She's at RachaelLavinWellness.com. And I am certain that the Doughnut Diaries is something that will touch your mind, your body, and your heart if you just open yourself up to it. I'm Derick Gant. I want you to be your best, bring your best, leave nothing to chance. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Follow Rachael on her social media platforms. If you go to her website, RachaelLavinWellness.com, I'm sure that she will direct you to all of her social pages where you can benefit and grow from her likeness. Hey, unlock your code.